Please help us reach 50,000 subscribers by subscribing. Mamolodi Sundowns 1, Kaizer Chiefs 0. What do you have to say about the game? Where did it go wrong?
I think we need to start with where did it go right, because it did go wrong at some point. 2 points to be specific, but we'll address that later. Hello and welcome to anyways, the coach started the game very well. The first issue was, how are we going to stop Sundowns attacking with the wingers? So one of the problems that we had in the previous game was the fact that Mamolodi was not helping Ukros in the previous game that we played. So we saw the coach doing the same thing that he did with Utuba when we lost 2-1. He took Mamolodi and made him almost like a full back, so we'd have a flat 5 at the back when we're defending. And then in midfield, he would then ask Ulilepo to become the second striker next to Umoris. And then in midfield, it would be the 3 guys, Umart, Udumtu, and Nokele. So they couldn't play the ball through the middle. Finally, so it was just a 5-3-2 when we were pressing. And this is where the first problem came in. Bongan was complaining about it because one thing that Chiefs does that becomes a problem is when you have a good tactic but you have players who are not focused. Because what was happening is Chiefs were pressing with the 5 right at the back. They had a 5 at the back. So what would then happen is Frosla, since who's this guy? Since Ulilepo was becoming a second striker, that meant the whole right side for pressing, it was then down to Mart. So not to Mart, rather Frosla. So when Frosla went to press, Umiguel was too slow in covering him, and then Abo Mart was supposed to follow Abo Ripero, making late runs into the box. And this game, we did everything so well, but one mistake where we failed to do that properly. The ball comes across, and I'm telling you now, only one player in South African football could have scored that goal. Only one.
Who is it?
And that is Ripero. No one else would have scored the chance. Nobody. And as much as I want to say that Abo Mart could have done better, Abo Totli could have done better, but I also look at that finish, man. Like he receives and then Wudu. No one else does that. I asked Ubongs when after that goal, I was like, do you think Umodi would have scored that goal? And the answer is no. Do you think Utupri would have scored that goal? He missed much easier chances. Umodi missed much easier chances. We've seen him miss much easier chances. So that is the thing that I'm saying, that the whole thing, the title of this video will be Quality Won the Game. Because it was just one chance that Sundowns had, and they took it. And they took it. So overall, the game plan from the start, it was good. But then that one thing went wrong, or should I say, that thing was good because Sundowns, Uripero, Ubongan was busy saying, I don't see these Brazilian boys, because they were locked down. They couldn't do anything in midfield. I'm even shocked with Allen, they won man of the match, because I'm like, Ubenzan, But anyways, we're not there. We're trying to talk about the Chiefs here. And now the game is continuing. Morris gets injured, obviously. So when Morris got injured, then the coach had a decision to make. Do I bring on Uranga, who's going to be sort of like for like change, or do I bring on someone who's going to have pace, because there's space behind Sundowns? The only issue with that is it seems like we had crammed how the game was going to go, because Chiefs were in control of the game at that time, which means Sundowns were the ones who were going backwards, and there were no spaces behind them. You understand? So to me at the time, I was like, okay, an obvious change is Dupree coming in. But by Morris not being there, and also by Ranga not coming on, the problem that we had then is that in the box, Nanin Bonil, we did not have a target man. So we did not have someone to try and find in the box. So a lot of times we'd go to the corner, and then we're trying to find and cut back the ball, but there's no one in the box. And if it's Dupree in the box, he's between Ukoza, he's a young kid, but he's very tall. You have Suarez, who's also very tall and very big. So now that's the problem. In the box, now you don't have a target man, and that is a problem. So now I found myself thinking, wouldn't it have been better if Dupree was just played as a winger and then play Ulilepo as a striker? If you don't want to play Ranga, then play Ulilepo as a 9, because he's bigger and he's much available on the ball. Because all we needed from him, he does it very well. Whenever he gets on the ball, he looks what's around him. He's very chilled. Sometimes I say he's too chilled, but you need that. You need someone who's calm, especially if he's going to play that position, because he didn't have to play as a 9-9, which sometimes he's a target man, but also being able to to hold up play and also, you know, allow the wingers to run in behind, and not for the wingers to be the one creating the chances. I understand good, that sounds like I'm contradicting myself. So we didn't have a target man, but we still tried to find a target man, Utupri. That's a problem. So instead of finding a target man, rather use the striker as a false nine and then let the wingers run in behind and create chances for them. Because if you are doing that, then basically what you are doing is you are saying, okay, we don't have a striker, but Lilepo, you are still physically imposing, and you can now keep the ball and play the wingers in behind, because as a target man, you also know that that's not your natural thing. Or if you're going to make him a target man, then try and find him accurately with the correct crosses. But that's also another problem, because we only had one person, even if it was Lelep or Tupri, it was just one person in the box. And that's a problem, because as I said, they have players in the box. You understand? So that was one of the problems. But everywhere else, we're controlling the game, we're pushing Sundowns back. And then second half came, I don't know why Mart came back. Nyazi, there's a smart guy who's going to say, Mpilo, we've been telling you about Mart. Mart did not, this was not his game. And he was frustrated as well. There was a time the ball was out over there, and he wanted to throw the ball, no one was making a move. And then he took the ball and then, well, posa pants, Ganji, you're a captain. You can't show your frustrations. You understand me? So, on top of the fact that he wasn't having such a great game, and now he's showing his frustration for all of us to see. And me, I'm a person who's always been defending Umart when I saw that he played well. But today he wasn't it. It's the same thing with Ulile Poguti. There were times on the wing he was just not there. He was just not there, and it's not because Uinkomo, it just feels like the game suited Abomodi, who could carry the ball and run with it. And he was with Utiwan as well. Like, he could have taken advantage of that. I saw Umodi being the one who's giving Usaila a problem. Even when Umrena came on, it was Umodi giving those guys problems. And those are national team defenders. But Ulilepo Ngapa couldn't do the things against Utiwan. I guess the biggest problem was Angazi Noma, the stage was just too big for him, because he's been scoring goals. Yeah, but that is why I'm saying maybe changing him and playing him as a number 9 would have been better. But on top of everything, I think the coach made a mistake. Why wait until 10 minutes to make changes? Mart was not in the game. Let's start there. Number 2, Lilepo was not in the game. So bring on Solomons to give you pace, at least in the position ga Lilepo. Umtu was also not playing. Bring on Ufundo Vilagazi to play as a 10. They can interchange positions with Umodi as well, because they can do that, you know. And then you can, if you are keeping Solomon's playing and running up and down, in that way, he's also, if you don't want to take off Frosler because he had a good game, you have a pace ka Solomons who can dribble, because who else was in the box who could dribble? Matlo is not that. If you bring him on, you could bring Matlo on for Umart, bring on who's this Umfundo Vilagazi form to bring on Solomons for Ulilepo, and now you have 3 fresh legs. You have pace in Lilepo, in Solomons. You have Vilagazi can also shoot, but also if you bring on Umatlo, he's going to help us play and progress the ball forward. And if we are running at them as well, Solomons a dribbler on the ball, you have Umodi on can also dribble. If you still have Utupri up front, in that case, since it was there, now we are pushing Sundowns much closer to their box, and then Abo Mfundo Vilagazi can also take shots, and we can now try and find Joy much closer to their box. But the coach waited, and the problem that I had with Unabi today is that he was warming up here. He calls him, we have Mfundo, 2 minutes, he's there, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then he decides, I need to make another change. Then he calls another player. Then he calls another player. And this thing is frustrating, because we've seen it way too many times this season. It seems like they're not sure when they want to make a sub. Each Chiefs can start the game with the best game plan ever, but it won't last the entire game. And I know people will use this to say, Nabi is clueless, it doesn't have plan B. And people who say that, they will feel like they have a point, because if you take 10 minutes to make your plan B work, then you're going to get questioned. You understand me? Because I'm sitting there, I can see Lilepo is not going to give you anything until the end of the game. I'm sitting here looking, okay, Ucele is already on a yellow card, maybe Ukatele, but at least he keeps the ball. After Ucele was out, we didn't do anything. You know, Ipola Besil Petri Sundowns for most of the times. And mind you, that's when Chiefs were supposed to be pressing even more, because we're the ones who are chasing the game down. But what I will say is, as always, Nabi starts the game today with a very good plan, But then as the match continues, he fails to properly read the game, and because of that, we end up not winning the game. We're still going to analyze the game, and please go check out our interviews as well as Cutback, and yeah, watch here everywhere. Yeah.
Cool. Overall, considering both teams, who dominated, who played well?
Obviously, Chiefs played well because for one, people expected 4 goals. We didn't concede 4 goals. We conceded 1 goal, quality goal, that only one player who's in South Africa right now can score. So Chiefs played well, and quality showed up once. Score. That's what players like Cabo Ronaldo, they will be quiet the entire game, and people will be like, Ronaldo sucks, and then he comes in, back post, see. That's what quality players do. Give them one chance, they punish you. So that's why in games like this, you must be switched on, because it comes down to thin margins.
Considering the Mamolodi Sundowns performance, what can you say? They savvy Chiefs or they chilled? What happened?
There are 2 things that I can say. 1, Chiefs just had a good plan, but 2, Sundowns are playing every 3 games, and that at some point gets to you. You can't play at a high intensity against Galaxy the previous weekend and then play Skukune during the week and then play Chiefs at the weekend. So there is a mixture of the 2 things, because even Umkwena, yes, Ucele is very good. Shout out to Ucele, by the way. Shout out to Ucele. So you can't, Umkwena was getting skinned by Ucele easily today. Abu Alende, they are men of the matches, but I didn't see them. So Chiefs had a very good plan, but also the fatigue in Sundowns, you could see they were not covering as much ground as they usually do. Yeah.
So now, where do you see Kaizer Chiefs forward?
If we can play like this against Makesi, which is unfortunate because it's going to be a different game plan, Makesi will be sitting deep, so it will be on us to break them down. So if we take this to the next game, then we'll be good.